Hello and welcome back to David Anderson Longbow Arrows. We are now doing video 10. So video 10 is all about the nocks, fitting the nocks, or commonly known as the piles. So we're going to fit the nocks to our shafts. I'm going to use these arrows that we are that we made in previous videos, so we're just going to continue on with these. Okay, the only other thing that I've added to this now is this binding around here. This does one of two things really. The important thing is the feather has a quill, and this bit here, if it's not cut, if it's not protected, when the arrow leaves the shaft, when the arrow leaves the bow, sorry, it can scrape along your hand, and if it's too pointy it might actually dig in, and that's going to hurty lotty. But anyway, I digress slightly. The piles, okay, there are a number of different piles that you can have, a lot of different points. The common one is tapered, which means that the inside of the point is tapered, so it fits along this taper here on the actual arrow shaft itself. We also have parallel shafts, and there are also screw-on shafts. Okay, each has its pros and cons. Each is down to a personal preference. I've started mainly going for a tapered screw-on type point. The taper is good because it allows you to do this bit here, but the screw-on gives it just that little bit extra bind when it's when the point is on there. So some examples. There are lots of different types of points now. So we have got so this one here, for example, this is a little steel taper point, just a very small one. I don't know if you can just see, if I go a bit closer, maybe just on there, there's a little line, there's a you get this indentation, this line all the way through. That actually tells you the weight of the point. So one line is 70 grains, two lines is 100 grains, and 3 is 125. So that's that one there. There's some new ones that I've got here. So these ones here are kind of like bullet style. They're aluminium bullet style, and these are also slightly tapered on the inside but threaded as well. Lovely little points. And for if you want to go for that authentic medieval look, you could go for the for the bodkin type here, which has got the bulbous bit. These are absolutely fine to shoot. The main thing along with the points is, as long as you can pull them out of the target without ripping the point off, with the point staying in there. So those would be absolutely fine because they're curved. Okay. However, barbed points are not allowed. Now, the only rule that we have is that Archery GB says is section 206 of the rules of shooting, part D, and it basically says that it's going to be your point here, where it meets the shaft. Okay, that needs to be flush with the shaft. That's the only rule that they have, and you can see this one here is nice and flush. That's one I prepared earlier. So how do we get these on there? Very simple. Okay, so a couple of tools. We got on the camera on the side. Yep. There we go. I can see now. Right. Okay. So a couple of tools that we've got. Obviously, we've got our arrow that we're going to fit the point to. I'm going to grab another point out of the bag. Other thing I've got here is a very sharp knife. Be careful you don't cut your fingers off. And I also have junior hacksaw. So what I'm going to do first of all, because this is a tapered point, and let me just move that binding machine back again. Because this is a tapered point, and I want this to fit flush, I'm going to cut a little neck into the shaft here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right up, let's go with this side here, I'm going to go right up to where the top of the taper is, and I'm going to push down slightly on the blade, on the knife, and then I'm just going to roll the shaft through 360 degrees. Okay, and now if you can see on here, you can just see this little indentation here. Now what I'm going to do is very carefully, I'm just going to slice back some of this wood against that indentation. Okay, so what this is going to do, I'm going all the way around, look. Okay, and what this is going to do is pull that bit there off. This is going to create that groove. Okay, and then what I can then do is I can just gently trim some of this off this side here as well. Okay, because we want to get a nice fit. Okay, so hopefully what you can see now is you should be able to see that groove cut. Now what we do is just, we're going to test this, so we take our point, we're just going to place our point on there and push it in. That's as far as it'll go, but you can still see there's this little gap here, right? So what I'll do is I'll twist that around, and when I take it off, you can actually see the markings. So that this is where the point is pushing against the wood. So what I want to do there is just gently ease that bit off. So that should now fit nicely on there. And look at that, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, but that's not all. Okay, we'll take the point back off. We want to grab our little file here, our little rasp. Okay, and then what we're just going to do is just I'm just going to score the blade a little bit, the taper a little bit there. So what I do now is when I put the glue in, the glue will set into the ridge there, into the gap, and it will make it, and it'll bind, and then that there is a lovely perfect fit. Isn't that gorgeous? So what glue are we going to use? Super glue? No, not this time. We're going to pay a visit to Mr. Arrow and Mr. Dite. I'm going to put out a new one here. Take the bigger mate. Let's get rid of that into the bin. So I'm using Gorilla Glue, epoxy resin. Is a two-part glue. One is a glue, one is a hardener, and you basically mix it up. You break the end off, squeeze some into a tub, mix it all up. Okay, and glue it on. Now this is where you need to get. Where's my pots gone? I've lost my pots. Someone's stolen the pots. Oh no, they're there. They're just hiding. Right. So these are just some little plastic disposable pots that I got off Amazon. So we're going to take some glue, take the lid off. If it's not stuck on there, thank you very much. Okay, actually what I'll do is I'll do it this side so you can see. The other thing that we want to do is get a little stirrer, like so. So all we're going to do is squeeze, and you should be able to see them coming out there, both sides. Okay, cut that off, and then in here just simply going to mix this glue up like so. You should, there we go. I'm just going to do enough just for one arrow. This glue sets very, very hard. Okay, so once you've made it, you want to get it on there as quickly as possible. So I'm just going to wrap it all the way around the point, around the taper of the shaft, take our point and put it back on. Now what I'm doing is I squeeze this round, I'll turn this round, okay, because what that does is as I twist it round, okay, it expels any air that's in that's still in the thing, and then I get a little bit of blue roll just to mop up that little bit of, there we go, nice, beautiful. And there we go, she's now done. This arrow is now finished. I'm going to tidy up the feathers a little bit there, but this arrow is now finished and ready to go to the customer. So I'm just going to pop him up there. That is basically it. If you were using, as I said, there's 3 points. There's a taper point, there's the parallel point, and there is also the screw in one. So if you were using one of those other types, you would get things like this. Okay, so this little tool here fits into a drill chuck, and on the inside it's got screw thread. So you're basically taking your shaft, this on the thing, and then it's screws on all the way through. Well, let's use that one there. This is the 1132 one on there, and as it screws through, it twists round, and it then makes a little thread on the shaft, and then when you get your point that is a screw on point, it just screws on there. If you're using this, I'll also still put a little bit of epoxy resin glue in anyway, just to hold that, just to give it that extra gap there. So there's one for 5/16, one for 11/32. The other thing that you would do is, if you were then doing a parallel shaft, is you would use one of these things here, which is called a shaft former. Okay, so again, what you've got is this end goes into your drill bit, and in there you've got various versions. So this is a 5/16. You've got 11/32, you've got 23/64. They just screw in. That goes into your drill. Take your arrow shaft, drill it through, right the way through like so, and then what that does is that flattens, it compresses this part of the shaft, allowing you to take your parallel point and place it on there. And again, what I would do is put some epoxy resin glue inside as well, just to give it that extra tightness in there. So those are the 3 main types of points that we use. What do I do with that? Put them over there, back in the bag. That's it. That's us putting the points on. The only other thing that we would do is, if we take this this one here, if I go, and this one might actually be fine. Okay, sometimes what you find is that when you put the point on, we grab a point, it still doesn't fit. I mean, that's going to fit on beautifully, this one is, but sometimes what will happen is it won't quite fit. The taper is a little bit too long. That's what junior hacksaw is for. Okay, all you're going to do is simply slice off a couple of millimeters off the top of the shaft there, and then that'll give you enough for the point to get on. So I think that is it. So what we've done here, we've created a little edge on the shaft for the point to sit against. Let me just have a quick look through my notes. Have I missed anything out? Nope, we've done it. We now have a finished arrow. The Keep an eye out for the supplementary videos. There's going to be a supplementary video on how to do the binding here, and there's a few others as well. You've seen the ones about the feathers. So yeah, like, subscribe, share the videos, let everybody know, and also, if it pleases you, just do that. He's gone all wonky. If it pleases you, go and buy my book. Okay, Making Wooden Longbow Arrows, Becoming an Excellent Fletcher, and what you'll see in the book is the entire process, and everything is in colour as well. You've got tables and you've got charts and you've got all sorts of things. So well worth getting. £12.49. You can get it from my website longbowarrows.co.uk, or get it from Amazon, and it's also being sold at Merlin Archery as well. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.